Hello YouTube, Devin here, and today I have probably a pretty fairly common out there helmet, but I don't know if it's one that you guys have seen because the most common version of this is actually the one that came 5 years after it. This is Sweden's really first helmet design, and this is the Model 21. This is the late version of the Model 21. We'll just kind of take a look at it here. It's a pretty standard Swedish design. This helmet continued to be used in one form or another up until like the 80s. So, because Sweden did this weird thing where they didn't really throw out their old helmets when they had a new design come out. They just kind of put the new liner in the old shell and kept using it, which is why this helmet has like 19 different layers of slightly different gray paint on it. And it has the double water transfer decals. Early on, these would have been hand painted on. When this helmet came out, they would have been hand painted. But these are water transfer, and that's the Swedish logo is the triple crowns. Now this is the crested version. This is the only crested Swedish helmet, which allows you to easily tell the 21s from the 26s. The 26s are pretty much this exact same shape, but they don't have a rim on them. They have a raw edge, and they don't have the crest plate on the front. So, and you could find those with this kind of liner, or you could find them with the new nylon type of liner that you find in like the Swedish M33s and stuff like that. But you could also find M33s with this liner. So it's all pretty much one gigantic family of helmets. But this is their oldest serving helmet. From 1921 to 1980 something, I think it was mid 80s, that they officially started to get phased out for different designs and stuff like that. So there's two versions of this helmet. The Model 21 had replaced a variant of the Stahlhelm. It was pretty much a copy of the 1916 Stahlhelm from Germany. And they adopted that, I think it was in 1918, and this replaced it in 1921, their own Swedish design. And the first version of this helmet had a much more aggressively tapered rim, so it had a much wider rim on it, and it had a much more pronounced crest. If you could see this kind of raised portion of the helmet, the crest here. So then they came out 2 years later with the late style, which has this more sloped rim and a shallower crest on the top. So they're all painted kind of a gray-green color. Variations of the paint change based on the years and how much they were used and what factory painted them. So you'd also see differences in the decals and the hand paint on the earlier ones. I really wish I had one of the really early ones, but especially one that wasn't changed, but a lot of them changed because Sweden is a very small, very unpopulated country through most of the 19th century, so they didn't really have the money to be able to throw away stuff, which is why you see a lot of these with like the modern liners in it. And you can see 1921s used through the Cold War, through World War II, through all of the interwar periods and stuff like that, in conjunction with the Model 26s and the Model 33s that technically replaced these. So we'll take a look at the liner here, and it's just kind of your standard three-padded, six-tongued liner. It has a lot of space between the brow pad and the two side pads, which I don't really like. It doesn't offer a tight enough fit, I think. So this helmet can be pretty unstable. The rim on this helmet, it's attached via split rivets, kind of like a German helmet. The pads are attached on this aluminum ring, and the aluminum ring is held in with these split rivets, as you can see. It's all adjusted height-wise at the top, one leather cord through all 6 eyelets, on all 6 tongues, on all 3 pads. The chin strap was replaced probably sometime in the 50s or 60s, judging by how new it is. these are much older. The actual pads in them are much, much older than the chin strap is. And you could tell by the fact that there's gray cotton behind it. They switched that to white in the 50s, kind of a coarser white linen. So this liner is probably from the 40s or very, very early 50s. So, but this liner, the chin strap, they really didn't change. You can just tell by the leather's a lot newer because it's still supple and it's pretty much uniform in color. So, and the new kind of aluminum hardware on it, this would have probably had steel or brass hardware if it was an earlier version. So, but the chin strap is just kind of your standard roller buckle, like a belt. So, and it has this kind of, if you wanted to use this as like a chin cup, I see some people wear it with this as like the chin cup, so it kind of flexes over your chin. Or I've seen some people use it without this leather pad on it, or I've seen some people use it down by like the scallion in their neck there, where their kind of neck starts to bend, just as more surface area, so it doesn't pinch as much. So, but other than that, it's a pretty standard helmet. Made out of very, very good steel. Sweden is kind of like Switzerland. They didn't really skimp on the quality. It's a pretty simple design. They took what worked. They took the best design they could. They put a lot of thought into this. The one that came immediately after it is pretty much the same helmet, just minus the crest and the rim, just to simplify cost. So they saved money, and then the Model 33 after it's almost completely round, and I have one of those, but it's a piece of garbage, and I don't actually have it here at the apartment. So, but I'll see if I can find a nicer one since they're still pretty cheap, and get that up here too. Till then, well, this will be a pretty short video. Hopefully you liked it. Leave a comment if you want to see anything else. If there's any particular country you want to see a helmet from, I probably have one somewhere. Feel free to give me a shout out if you want. If you do, I would very much like to see the video that you put my shout out in. Also, I'm willing to return the favor, just to help get the information out there. People can't learn it if it doesn't, nobody tells them about it. So I will leave it here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.